Hello, this is the SIG Network meeting for April 10th, 2025. This meeting is covered by the CNCF Code of Conduct, so everyone be nice. Not a lot of people, or a few agenda items today. Let's get started with triage. Not that many bugs for triage today. So Ricardo has filed a bug, improve IP protocol detection on Cube proxy, asking for us to do a slightly better job of detecting when you have IPv6 support. I guess I could just mark that as triage. Anyone who's interested in working on that, specifically for detecting. So with IP tables, we could generally tell when IPv6 wasn't going to work very easily. With NF tables, it seems as though some rules work and other rules don't. And so we need to add some extra checks. If anybody's interested in working on that.
Why some rules work on other ones?
You can create an IP6 table and you can add I didn't dig into details. I think he didn't give all the
Okay, I can check.
He didn't give all the information on the bug, but he gave me some reproducer stuff. But yeah, it seems that it will allow you to make some rules, but then later on it starts failing. And at that point, we've already decided that we are going to support IPv6. So
We already support
what?
IPv6.
Right. No. So like we've already decided that we're going to do Cube proxy dual stack, and then it just getting errors over and over and over again. So
okay, now I understand.
Extensible node readiness and schedulability conditions. So this is something someone filed 2 days ago saying, hey, we need better readiness for nodes. And I responded and said, yes, let's do this. Suggested they start a KEP, which they did. Somebody else pointed out that Andrew Sai Kim had actually done a very similar KEP a few years ago, which eventually got closed because there was a lot of discussion, but SIG Cloud provider decided they could do what they needed to do without having that KEP. So this needs triage, but I think it needs triage from SIG node probably.
I was talking with Don yesterday about this, and I was telling, I think that we are really interested if they don't have bandwidth. I think that at least you and I can work with the person to get this.
Okay.
I don't know if volunteering you is something that I should do or not, but well, at least helping is something that you can spend some time.
Yeah, probably sometime. I don't know. This issue will probably get closed in favor of the KEP anyway. So I think for now, I'm just going to leave it as needs triage. We'll see if SIG node responds to it, and decide what to do in 2 weeks. Potential incorrect real server wait update logic in IPVX proxy or initial sync. So there's a huge amount of analysis here of like what's going wrong and what should be done to fix it. If anybody's interested in looking at an IPVS bug and possibly fixing it, you could volunteer. I don't even know how many people we have. 8. Okay, so maybe not getting a lot of volunteers. All right, I will read over this some more afterwards, I suspect. Just assign it to me. Reserve bandwidth for control plane networks. I think we saw this one last week, and we were waiting to see if what happened with it. And nothing.
Assigned to me because there are things mixed there. I will.
Done. Antonio, this one got assigned to you at the last
Yeah.
one, and then you didn't update it. So
Okay, it was my fault.
yeah, at least triage accept it if it's acceptable. And then this one also got assigned to somebody last week, but I guess Gaurav isn't here, so I'll ping him offline to triage this one. And that is it for untriaged bugs. So next up on the agenda, yes, Siwan.
Okay, can I present or can you present?
Yeah, no, I think I have to make you a co-host, right? And now you should be able to present. Share screen.
Mhm. Hi. So my name is Siwan. So I will mainly work on API machinery. So just want to present some recent updates on Kubernetes emulation version. So this will have some impact on the whole development process. So a little bit of background. The emulation version is one of the CAP to make control plane upgrade safer. So we introduced the concept called emulation versions. If the user sets the emulation version to a version that's prior to the binary version, then the control plane will emulate the behaviors and the APIs at that previous version instead of the current binary. So in order to make this work, basically we have to preserve the previous behaviors of the features and APIs in the control plane. So that will change how feature gates gets changed and also how APIs will be used. So there are a couple of changes listed in this doc, and we're also actually working on making it easier for developers to use. So this is the doc that will have the most recent update. So first of all, any new feature gate should have a version about will have a version list to track all the changes throughout its life cycle. And then most importantly, if you are graduating your feature, it can only be removed after 3 releases after it goes GA. So, and also during that time, you should have test coverage for that feature, even though it's like locked at GA. So that's the one big change. And then also regarding how you update the feature behavior or like other code changes. So if you're working on the alpha feature, there's no change. But anything other than alpha feature, if it changes user-facing behavior, then we recommend gate the change with a lightweight feature gate. So add a new feature gate to guard your change, and it doesn't really have to go through any like CAP process. It's just an easy way to track the new changes for in the code base. So here listed some examples of what to do if your change falls into one of these examples. And if you have questions, you can always email us or contact API Machinery regarding that. And for API changes, there's not much change. Just for API removal, yeah, there's some more complications regarding how to test it. So the test coverage should stay in the code base for 3 versions after the API is tagged as removed. And but if you're graduating of API into in a controller, that's mostly unaffected. So we have a mechanism to use the recent API, even though it didn't exist in the previous emulated version. So so we are actually working on improving the process to make it more it's easier to comply with the new guidelines. But if you have any questions, you can contact me or other folks on this feature team. Any questions?
So right now, I know this doesn't apply to feature gates in kube proxy because we're not supporting compatibility versioning for kube proxy. Is that going to change? Do you know? Is there a plan?
So we recommend you follow the same guidelines just for consistency. It's very hard to like make an exception for kube proxy because it's hard to see with a feature gate. It's only used in kube proxy. And in the
Yeah.
future, we might expand it to Node and kube proxy as well. Yeah, so that would be easier to make the change if you start to adopt this process.
So kube proxy is the same as component, right? It's kubelet, proxy, and all the components. Right now, you only implemented this in the API server and the control plane feature, right?
Right, so only the control plane components have the emulated version flag. But like, it's still undecided if we want to expand it to the data components. Yeah, so this will be like this one of the methods, one of the approaches we can support LTS. So if the LTS working group decides to use compatible version to support LTS, then we have to do this for all components.
Rob?
Yeah, just a question. I know, for example, the community repo has a bunch of stuff under SIG Arch, like some guidelines for feature gates, life cycle, etc. Is it possible to include this, like the contents of this there, or is there some other?
Yeah, we already have included the changes regarding feature gates under the repo of SIG Arch. So if you go,
Great.
yeah.
Great.
All right, I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Sure. And then I think, yeah, Philip, you're still here. Yeah, you're up next.
Yeah. Hi. So I would like to just highlight a new working group we are proposing. To give some context, this working group is loosely based on 2 caps I did, that are not merged yet, called node maintenance and eviction request / evacuation. And like this, there is like this tries to tackle like a bunch of like issues that are like around node like node maintenance and like the basically post termination. So like the basic premise was like that there is a lot of mechanisms that solve like the node drain during various scenarios, during node maintenance or just maybe cluster autoscaling, etc. and like the current like a termination process of both the pods and nodes is not sufficient. So, for example, it's very hard and there is one issue that, like, if you want to run a single replica application, that that has to be disrupted before you move it to another node. So, like, there is like a bunch of migration scenarios. For example, running virtual machines or accelerators that have a hard time accepting pod disruptions. So like one of my gaps is the eviction request, and that basically tries to bring like a set of interactions before the pod is actually terminated. And so how this comes back to the SIG network. So I know like there is a bunch of issues regarding pod termination in SIG network. Basically that like there is not a great not a great signal like in all scenarios when pod should like stop accepting connections. And so there is also one other document that tries to solve this and basically adding a new condition to a pod. I have it linked in the working group. And so yeah, so I would like to just want to quickly ask, like, what are your thoughts on this, and what would you like your involvement be with this working group? Yeah.
The thing is, we have our main interaction is, as they say, in the pod life cycle, and the pod life cycle and the VM life cycle is something that is not working well today. When you have eviction, the probes stop to probe, and then it doesn't signal, and then the status of the pod doesn't change, and it keeps sending traffic. So we depend a lot on this life cycle, and well, we need to fully understand how are going to be the scenarios, especially when pods are terminating, and how are they going to represent the readiness? Because that's the signal for the rest of the cluster to send traffic to them.
Yeah. So yeah. So like to start, like basically there is still not any like consensus like what we will do, like if there will be some condition or what API we will implement. I mean, like there is like a pretty big issue with pod termination, as there are like so many ways like how pods can be terminated, and it's very hard to like come up with something that doesn't break like anybody. So like for example, my cap for the eviction request, as I said, like there are many migration scenarios where you might have a workload that actually first maybe wants to run a set of checks before terminating, or wants to migrate the pod. And it might, or even if the migration just means a replication on another node before that comes back online. So there might be like a period of time where the application or like might accept connections, and after some time it might still not be terminating, but it might not accept connections. It might be like doing the last phases of the migration. So I mean, I think like there is like a big space for improvement, but it's like it will be like difficult to actually like bring it online in like in every case. So it might be that for some scenarios we might still have the old termination logic, and yes, so it might be that only maybe some part of the new like behavior will be maybe in all scenarios. Maybe we'll add pod conditions that you could use for like when we are saying that pod is terminating, but we might have some expanded scenarios or API that might be used for for users that would be interested in that. So yeah, this is like to be seen.
My point is that I think that right now we have undefined behavior. So when it's the node shut down or the victim or all these things, they are not working I don't think that they are not even well documented expectations. So feel free to suggest things. If you are going to make the behaviors predictable, I think all the people here will review and give feedback. But I think that's a great improvement if we at least move from something that is undefined to something defined.
Yeah. There is the issue with the the graceful node shutdown. Like the feature is still beta, so it's actually blocked on some couple of these issues. And yeah, so like we need to they're basically on the node side there. We can also have like a couple of different disruptions. As I said, on the pod there can be like different kinds of disruptions, and on the node side as well. When you have, for example, spot VMs, they might like be more harsh than.
Yeah, look, it's a great. I think that's a great idea, and well, that's we need to work with you to give feedback, right?
Yeah. So
It's a complex problem.
Yeah. So I know, Antonio, you have already saw the proposal, but like if anybody wants to take a look, just give us feedback if they would like to see something there. It's just a proposal for the working group, and then we plan to kickstart the working group in upcoming weeks, and so we will send an email to the mailing list with the meeting scheduled.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Nobody has any questions about that or the previous presentation or any other agenda items, then I think we're done.
I have one thing.
Okay.
I have almost done the Q network policies for DNS thing, and it's failing, it's flaking in some places. I cannot find the thing. But if you can review, some of you or the people involved can review, because I'm not sure of the behavior and I just randomly copy it. So yeah, I also did test. Look, the thing is, I implemented a new way of adding tests that is with bash. So all the things that you copy, the manifest, you can see it then in the pull request. So right now it's super simple. I found this the other day for another project, and now I'm adding this to all my pet projects. It's a framework in bash that is called bat, and then you just, the pull request is here. Somebody wants to, where is the chat? So the pull request is there. The framework is called bat, and in the test folder you see that you just do qctl commands and apply YAMLs and all the stuff. So this is really super simple for doing E2E test or conformance test, because it's what the user is going to do. But this is still flaking, but I'm not asking you to debug the flakes, but for me the important thing is the logic. I'm not sure about the logic implemented is correct. The domain thing says that can only be used in allow, so I don't know if this is going to be filtered in the API or I need to implement it differently. The reject says that you can only have a wildcard asterisk as prefix, but it seems that the reject validation is an asterisk plus a dot. So if that's the case, it should be worth mentioning, because it's different having asterisk and a dot. And the other thing is, it's not easy to implement, and it's going to be very racy. But well, I think that it works as you described.
Yeah, the raciness, like there's really no way around it, and that's sort of part of the feature definition is you know, hey,
Yeah.
you need to be able to deal with these issues. So
It's just to give you feedback, right? Implementing it is the other thing. The other thing is starting the DNS. You need to create a radix tree and all these things because the wildcard make it more complex. Well, that's something that. Okay. Yeah. So please review it, especially if you see the tests are super simple with Bash. If you have another idea, just send me a patch. And especially the logic. I don't know if I get the logic right, and I need to debug some.
okay. Anything else? Okay. And we are done. Thank you for coming, everyone. See you in 2 weeks.
Bye.